I am here with my cohort, Connie Baxter Marlow. She is the author of the Trust Frequency 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm. And I'm Sande Hart. I'm the author of The Liminal Odyssey, which is a book, a philosophy, and an adventure. And it's in that philosophy, as it was unfolding in the storytelling of writing the book, that when I applied the power of the trust frequency to what I was discovering, it shifted more than the frequency and the paradigm. It was the bonding agent that made it all work together, which I'm really excited to be able to share with you all here. We're excited to share this practical application of the trust frequency through the lens of the Liminal Odyssey, and in the short time that we have today, which explains why Connie and I are going to talk as quickly as we can and get through what we can. So Connie, can we hear your voice and say hi?
How do you do? It's wonderful to be here with my cohort, Sande, and in this co-creative space where something is birthed that neither one of us had, but something is birthed through our coming together. And it's just wonderful to be here.
I love co-creating with Connie and Andrew even as well. And so, yeah, thank you. I'm just honored to be here. Let's start with with the word liminal, which means threshold, but in the Liminal Odyssey, it means more than threshold. It's in the condition of the Liminal Odyssey where it's an invitation to step into, not over, the spaces between crisis and action, dilemma and choice, between the seed that is planted in the ground and begins to disintegrate and decays so that it can start its journey to the soil to live its full potential and purpose, or this evolutionary growth spurt that we're all in right now, which we are in between where we've been for the last many thousands of years and to the unknown place that's calling us. So we are in the liminality, folks. We're in it right now. And yet we don't know where we're going, but we know we're on our way. And it's in the in-between where we find our moments of choice, where we have not just the opportunity, but the awesome responsibility to ensure where we go, which we are co-creating together right now, especially during World Unity Week, that we are in our full integrity and that we leave the baggage behind that no longer serves us. This is critical. It's critical to the Liminal Odyssey. It's criminal. It's critical to where we are going. I know I want to be clean and clear of baggage and in my full integrity when we get there, because I don't want to be poisoning the water hole for you all or myself, or my next 7 generations. So the Odyssey is what happens when we practice and build capacity to slow down to the sound of awe and wonder about what may seem like mundane or insignificant moments, and apply practices and skills, and most of which you already have. We all have skills to regulate, to process value systems and tools that help us, just be the spiritual activists that we are. And yet it's not just about showing up in those skills and in that integrity. It's about what happens when they work cohesively, when they're practiced so that they become who we are. And it's in that cohesive, coherent being of this collection of these skills, which is where the Liminal Odyssey philosophy kicks in, results in not only seeing the sacred geometry of our lives, but the momentary opportunities that are meant to be ours, ultimately preparing us as stewards of this new reality that we're rowing towards together in this magical canoe, and or perhaps even approaching its gates. And we're there now. We are on our way, if not close. And again, I know I don't want to poison the water hole when I get there. So, this book I wrote for me, and it's my practice, but there's room for your skills too. And it's as easy as showing up and fulfilling our divine assignment, our soul's purpose, so that when we use our life to free our soul, those moments of insignificance become insignificance. And as we go on here today, I'm going to be illustrating the skills that I've outlined. And again, there's room for your skills as well. But again, it's how we use them as midwives or co-captains of this rowboat where we're going together. And we're going to show you, Connie and I, what happens when you apply the trust frequency to any condition. And we'll demonstrate that through the liminal odyssey. And while I will present to you a host of skills that I've outlined as important in a part of my book, the most important skill that I think is essential as the bonding agent for them all is the trust frequency. So I'm going to stop talking now and have Connie come here and tell you all about the trust frequency. And shall I bring up the PowerPoint, Connie?
Sure. Well, in a minute, I'll just
okay.
say a little something.
Yeah.
And that is that I always felt we were out of balance. And I started looking for the missing pieces of our paradigm, what had us out of balance. And I looked in Europe and I found the same thinking in Europe. And then I came back to the United States, and these visionary elders, indigenous elders, Native American elders started coming into my life, because the answers you get depend on the questions you ask. And here they came into my life to show me these missing pieces of the paradigm. And I got it. I got that what they're carrying for us is the true nature of the universe, clues to the true nature of the universe, because nobody's lived it yet. It's the great mystery, as the Native people say. So we're yet to move into it. And this time together with Sande and me, bringing her experience and her insights and my experience and my insights together, we bring a little more of a piece of a puzzle. And one day, all of humanity is going to fit all these pieces together of this puzzle, and we're going to see something we've never seen before in the history of the planet. We're not going back to anything. We're going forward into a higher frequency. So I want to just share that. And in my knowing, the earth is moving into a higher frequency. So we have that work to do, to face our shadow, to get our baggage unpacked so that we can raise ourselves in frequency and keep up with the earth and bring this to pass on earth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give a sort of a meditative approach to this construct on the nature of the universe that I feel I've been given through my own intuition, through experience, through the people who've come into my life, and share it in this way so that you can not take in your left brain necessarily, in your whole being. So I'm going to lead it in kind of a meditative way. And so I would like you, because it's a lot of information, and you'll see what resonates and what doesn't, and just let it flow. So I'm going to just sort of take us into this space. So please sit comfortably in your chair in an open, receptive state. Take a few deep, slow breaths. Focus on your inner knowing, wherever that manifests for you, in your heart, in your body, in your right brain, in your left brain. Allow the words I will be reading to flow through that space without judgment, Accept them as absolutely true. Let any resistance melt into the now space and just be with the ideas that create the container for our time together today. I will first offer some definitions of the words I will be using. Then 10 assumptions for a new paradigm. And Sande will bring them into practice on the liminal odyssey. So I'm going to read these definitions and the 10 assumptions. So just let it flow. Okay. The definitions. Assumption, a core belief which we take to be true without question. A paradigm, a set of agreed upon assumptions which create a consensus reality. Humanity, a collection of divine, autonomous, sovereign beings who have chosen to incarnate on earth to learn and grow on their soul's journey to wholeness, each with an individual purpose and a unique gift. Love, the fundamental unifying and creative force of the universe. Frequency, the vibratory rate that determines the characteristics of a particular reality. There is a wide range of frequencies, each with its own reality and its own distinct laws. The trust frequency, where the soul's destiny awaits, with more abundance, balance, freedom, and joy than we can fathom, where the true nature of the universe is experienced. Free will, the right to choose one's frequency. Circumstance, the seemingly uncontrollable outward events that influence our decisions. Consciousness, universal consciousness, the primordial life energy of the universe. Human consciousness, the active and passive phenomena of awareness, assumption, attitude, attention, alignment, action, and allowing, which determine our frequency. The universe, all that is, both manifest and unmanifest, also known as God, Creator, Atman, and so on. We call it the conscious, loving universe.
That's beautiful, Connie, and I'm back now.
Pardon?
Oh, and I'm back now.
Yeah, you're not coming in well, Sande.
So I just want to let you know that was beautiful.
You're breaking up. So the trust frequency. I'm going to read the 10 assumptions now.
Beautiful.
We live in a conscious, loving universe. There is only love. The universe loves us unconditionally. It gives us everything we ask for. We create reality by the power of our consciousness. The 7 A's of consciousness: awareness, assumption, attitude, attention, alignment, action, and allowing determine our vibration, our frequency, and are our requests to the universe. Free will is an absolute law of the universe. We have the freedom to choose our frequency. We are masters of our own destiny. Circumstance guides us on our journey to wholeness. There is only now, this precious present moment. Living trustingly in the now, we experience the true nature of the universe. All of creation is one. Separation is a man-made illusion. We are the conscious, loving universe. Humanity is on an evolutionary upward spiral, leading inexorably to a higher reality, the trust frequency, heaven on earth. The trust frequency is a real place of unfathomable joy, peace, and abundance that is freely available to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Those are the 10 assumptions. And I also have the 7 A's, the 7 aspects of our consciousness that are our requests to the loving universe. I have those in one sentence that I'm going to share with you now. With expanded awareness and accurate assumptions, we choose our attitude, consciously direct our attention, align with our highest inner promptings, take committed action, and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams. So just breathe all that in and let it be in your being. And let's see, have we lost Sandy? So Sandy.
I don't know, have you?
Sandy has disappeared. So let's see here.
Sande, you're breaking up.
She's at the bottom, I see, and she's turned off her video so she can
I
be.
know, and I can't reach you. I can't reach you anywhere. And this is heartbreaking because Connie and I worked so hard at
We can hear you.
Oh.
We can hear you.
Barely.
I'm hoping you
So-
can hear me
Sandy.
now, and I'm so sorry to be a disruption here. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
You might, I'm not sure if this will help, but you might imagine a waterfall between you and your computer. That's sometimes a shamanic practice that neutralizes any static.
Well, I can just go over her 12 practices and just to express them. There is the sacred art of listening. There is timefulness. There is forgiveness. There's relativity to our natural world. There's cultivating synchronicities, respect and healing of intergenerational trauma, recognizing archetypal personalities, maiden, mother, crone, impeccability and integrity of our thoughts, behaviors, and language, mindfulness, body awareness, identifying and living our divinity, and being the sacred gardener. So I'm just so sorry Sandy's not here to share with us the magic of the liminal odyssey. But what the essence of it is that indeed we trust a loving universe. And we pay attention to those spaces in between, to those synchronicities that come forth in the mundane of our lives, in our everyday lives, and we notice the magic in them. And as we trust, and as we move into that frequency where the magic lives, Sandy's book is full of magic. Sandy's life is full of magic. And as we move into that space, we manifest those magical moments, those magical things that come to us that we couldn't have ever fathomed. Sandy has a story of heart rocks coming to her just out of the blue, practically. She has many stories of experiences in her life that had these synchronicities of her walking into these synchronicities and listening to her heart and her spirit and taking action from that place that have led her on what she is calling the liminal odyssey. Are you there, Sandy? I see her face.
I don't think that she's able to speak somehow because she is unmuted.
So she wanted to share how she has applied the trust frequency principles in her life,
And-
each of those 12.
and please
Sandy, you're breaking up again.
everyone
The connection's really bad.
Yeah. So let's see, where do we go from here? Because she was going to take this time to really go into her 12 practices and skills. And all I can say is that her sacred art of listening was to pay attention to our hearts, to pay attention to the circumstances in the world, how the universe is talking to us, and acting from that place where what we hear from the universe, from our hearts, from our bodies. She has an amazing story of when she activated 100,000 people at the Sunday, Peace Sunday in 1982. That she just, because there was a dog left in a parked car on a very hot day, and she was aware of this dog, and she just stood up and said, "What about the dog?" to the people. And then the first follower next to her stood up and said, "What about the dog?" And eventually the whole 100,000 people were asking the MC, "What about the dog?" And the dog ultimately was taken care of. But this was an example of listening and acting on what we're told by our being, by our essence.
Yeah.
And then she speaks of timefulness, of this Chronos time and Kairos time. The Chronos time is the clock time, and Kairos time is that time that the indigenous peoples live in, that is just creator's time, where things happen as they should and when they should. And then there's the forgiveness, which is forgiving ourselves and forgiving all of creation for what we have perceived to be unconscionable acts towards us or towards the universe, towards others. But ultimately, what we understand is that it's all love, that we're on an evolutionary upward spiral. We're processing fear and separation and scarcity, and it's all been of service for us to bring peace on earth. So we move into forgiveness and allowing and knowing that it all is of service. And then there's the relativity to our natural world, relating heart to heart with the spirit of all that is, and knowing that those beings, and the indigenous peoples know this so well, the spirit in all of creation that wants to communicate with us and wants to work with us. And now we're starting to hear them. We're starting to have that communication. So it's just such an exciting time that we are getting into that frequency where we're going to be able to hear them and act on their advice, which the native people have done forever. They know there's a spirit in the rocks. They can talk to rocks, have two-way conversations with rocks. I've known this for decades, and I've just been waiting for when it's my time to be able to have a two-way conversation with a rock. But it's coming now. And now then there's cultivating synchronicities, which is that watching and listening and acting and allowing and knowing that those synchronicities are for us. That's the loving universe showing up for us to take us into the magic. And then there's respect and healing of intergenerational trauma, which is so key for us in these times on this journey to wholeness that we're on, that we must heal our hearts and our spirits and do this work so that we can go into our hearts with all people and all of life. So that's a very key, important practice. And then the recognizing of archetypal personalities, knowing that there's different stages of life, that we are all moving through these stages of life, and to honor each of them in ourselves and in others. And there's the impeccability and integrity of our thoughts, behaviors, and language, which is so key for our vibratory level, to know that it's all vibration, it's all energy, and that it's key that we are impeccable, that we are in integrity, that we watch the vibration of every thought we have, and every word we use is key, because we're feeding the collective consciousness with our thoughts, our emotions, and every word we speak, and every thought we have. That they're proving that now with the modern science, with the unified physics, that our emotions affect our DNA, and our DNA affects all of the creation, because we're all one. It's a key piece. And then mindfulness of really being so aware of those 7 A's of our consciousness, being so mindful and making that choice on an hour-by-hour basis, what we do with our awareness, our assumptions, our attitude, our attention, our alignment, our action, and our allowing. This is key for our personal journey and for our journey as a collective, that we are mindful of each of those 7 aspects of our consciousness that are our requests to the loving universe. They are our requests, and it is purely physics. It's vibration, it's frequency. So we must be mindful. If whenever those thoughts come up, we must check and say, hey, do I want to be feeding the collective consciousness with this vibratory level? Do I want to feed the collective consciousness with the vibration of peace and love and interconnectedness? Or do I want to feed it? Do I want to put my attention on resistance and on the lower aspects of what we're moving out of? It's over. That stuff is over. It's time now. We're being pulled into a new future. And so it's key that we are mindful of those aspects of our consciousness, as well as all others. Many other words that begin with A, acceptance, etc. There's many different aspects of our consciousness that create our vibratory level, and we must be mindful on a moment by moment basis. And then there's body awareness, just being aware of what our body is telling us. Is it telling us, go, do something else, leave this situation, this isn't okay, this is okay? We need to listen to our bodies and cultivate that sensitivity of our body so it can communicate with us. And then living and identifying our divinity, which is just opening our hearts and acting according to the dictates of our hearts, and acting accordingly and living into that divine gift and who we came here to be, and bringing our piece of that puzzle to the big puzzle, so that ultimately we can see this picture that's never been seen before, because it's counting on each of us to bring our piece to the party, to the puzzle. And then being the sacred gardener, just tilling those fields and loving on each other and on ourselves, and bringing those nutrients to this process is so important. So hopefully I've done justice to Sande's work. And I guess she's still, there she is. You back?
The question is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah, you're an angel. Everyone is experiencing what true goddess, crone, spiritual activist looks like. We got each other's back, and Connie's got mine. And yes, forever in and out, first time in years, my entire internet went down in the whole neighborhood. So thank you.
So Sande, give them a little taste from you of your 12 skills and practices, because I did my best.
Oh, you are stunning. I just love you so much. I couldn't love you more, actually. And all of you patient people with good senses of humor. The skills, which are so, again, let me just say before my internet drops me, that they're confluence when work together, and they're building blocks. That's what's so important, that we practice them, practice through neuroplasticity. We create them as habits. They become who we are. We shift the culture. This is how we shift culture. It's nothing more than a collective agreement by all the citizens. So that starts with us. So it's inside, outside job. It's enlightened self-interest at its best. The sacred art of listening. And Connie, forgive me if you've gone through over these again. I know you were doing such a stunning job from what I can hear, but perhaps I'll just do them again. And
yeah, please.
And looking at the time, I think we can do this.
Go, girl.
I'm a little afraid to show you my screen. Connie and I worked for a long time on this beautiful presentation, which perhaps we can re-record and put out in the world again. It really deserves to see the light of day. The sacred art of listening is so important to the process, and how the trust frequency impacts that is through our level of attention, that attention. And by the way, I'm going to be mentioning all of the 7 A's. They're so great to just put them on your bathroom mirror, memorize them, whatever you do, bring them up. That Connie mentioned earlier, and perhaps even since I was gone. Paying attention, the sacred art of listening is so important, to really listen not only another soul into a condition of discovery and disclosure, but our own soul and soul's purpose into a condition of discovery and disclosure. Timefulness, that's the word I coined. And we know how to be mindful. We know how to be careful. We know how to be thoughtful. We could do a lot more with being timeful, stepping into those places, those what appear to be cracks in the sidewalk, but really climb in there and see this massive Grand Canyon, this odyssey you can possibly have when you take the time to slow down to that awe and wonder. Forgiveness is another skill. Forgiveness, that's a big one. That's a big one. And what is important there. Oh, and by the way, for timefulness, awareness, and free will.
You're gone again, Sandy.
Punch, really important. Forgiveness, allowing and paying attention to your attitude. And also remembering that forgiveness is, shall I try this again? Or am I being, am I back? I know this is disrupting and I'm so terribly sorry.
Sandy, if you want to share something, I don't mind doing your screen sharing with you. If Connie could maybe send it to me, Connie.
You know, Connie's already gone through more than half of it. So thank you, Hasina. That's so beautiful of you. Can you hear me now?
I don't have the final one, Hasina.
Yeah, I've got it. Let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, let me do this again. Let's just take advantage in timefulness. Cultivating synchronicities is really important, because when you pay attention to what's happening or ask what's that about or what does that mean, if it's meaningful, slow down in the synchronicities. And therein comes allowing and awareness and alignment. Really, really important. Respect and healing of intergenerational
You're breaking up again.
Sandy, you're
Yeah,
gone.
you're breaking up. You're breaking up, Sandy. Well, until Sandy comes back, Connie, I would love to know, how did you come across the trust frequency? Did it just come to you and Sandy?
in our load, in our baggage.
Yeah. For me, the trust frequency, I saw it through these indigenous elders. I saw this other way of being, and I got it, that it was a trust-based paradigm. And other spirit just brought me other information and my own intuitive. I say that I got it through deductive reasoning, because I'm very much in my head. And so I just saw A plus B equals C, and I got it. It's my reality, A to Z. Absolutely true. There is only love, which is a huge leap, because it's the leap beyond duality. It's not the leap into non-duality. It's the leap beyond duality, beyond right and wrong and good and evil, into that field that Rumi speaks about. Out beyond right doing and wrong doing, there is a field. Okay. And he describes that field, and he says, you know, words just don't even describe it. And because it's beyond what we can fathom, because we're in a lower frequency, we can't fathom what's in this frequency because we're so enmeshed in that lower vibration energy. And it's my understanding that we've been transmuting these energies for all of creation, that it's been our job. There's no shame, no blame. Nobody's been lying to anybody. It's a lower frequency energy that we've all responded to. All races, all colors, all of humanity we've been doing really nasty stuff to each other, all races, all colors. So there's no pointing fingers at anyone. There's no shame, there's no blame. It's just, hey, we've been doing a great job. We've done a great job. And I got this from the native people. You know, they say, you know, each color had a job to do. There's just that eagle perspective that can see that this is all serving a higher purpose, that it's all going somewhere. And for me, it's going to peace on earth and heaven on earth. That's all there is. That's all there ever has been. That's all there ever will be, is the coming of peace on earth and heaven on earth. So thank you for asking me.
That's really beautiful. The way you said it, it just came. You received that, and you were obviously, you and Sande, I obviously don't know you very well. I just met you a week ago, but you were in a space to receive it. How do other people receive it? Do you find that you have to be in that space, or do you feel that do you feel that when you teach people that they're able to receive that? Are they receptive?
Well, it depends, I think, on people's soul level. You know, it depends. So many people say, oh, I've just always known that, and I've just never had the words for it. And then, you know, we're all at different levels in our soul's journey. And so it's just a matter of what resonates, what pieces resonate with one at one time in one's life. And then as one moves into the higher frequency and this liminal odyssey that Sande's talking about, these magical moments. See, this is a case in point, because in the trust frequency, the laws are expanded. It's a different reality, entirely different reality. I see it, I know it. It's my reality. And I, like John Lennon describes it in Imagine, you know, Jesus showed us what it looks like with the healing and with the loaves and the fishes. There's unlimited abundance in this frequency. So there's nothing to fight over. We know we're one. We get it that we're one. The veil has thinned. So there's nothing to fight over, no one to fight with. Peace on earth is a given. We lay down the weapons of war because it's absurd. And there's no shame, no blame for where we've been, because we've been doing a very important job. And that is to feel these energies, live these energies, and transmute them, and then walk into our hearts and bring heaven to earth. So it's a very universal perspective that takes the lower vibration out of it. You know, if you're guilty, if you're feeling guilty, if you're feeling shamed, you're feeling, you know, less than, you're not able to get into that frequency. Yeah. And this perspective says, hey, it's all good. It's all okay. Let's just do the work so we can bring forth peace on earth. And now I just am watching it unfold, and I just don't know why I've seen it for 30 years if it hasn't already happened somehow. And I'm just watching it on a global level, like this World Unity Week, like humanities team with the oneness thing that they started 10 years ago, Neil Donald Walsh, you know, okay, yep, it's coming, quantum science now. You know, Nassim Haramein and Jude Currivan, you know, just listen to the words on people's lips, even look at billboards. I saw a billboard coming across the country last year that said compassion on a huge billboard. Just watch the signs. It's happening, and then trust it and walk it. So thanks for asking, sweetheart. I really appreciate that.
Well, this is very fascinating. And if anyone else has questions, please just raise your hands. And we still have a few minutes to take some questions. And in the meantime, I'll ask you one more about, you speak about unlimited abundance, which I feel is so true. But we mostly have a challenge. I don't speak for everyone, but a lot of us have a challenge having that be a reality for us, because we've been so indoctrinated and trained into the fact that there isn't enough, or there's enough for so-and-so and not for me, and that kind of thing. How do we accept that abundance?
Well, we have to understand that we create what we think. Okay, it's called the observer effect. So if we believe there's scarcity, then there will be, because it's a vibration. And so it's just old habit, old thinking, and abundance actually has a negative connotation, because it's connected to greed and hoarding and taking too much. But in the native way, you take what you need, and there's more tomorrow. So you don't have to hoard for tomorrow. You don't have to live in fear for tomorrow, because you trust there's more. And because you trust, there is. You see, so you have to act from that place. You have to not only think it, you have to be it and do it to get into that frequency. And we've had those way showers, and so I've known native people who have an unending pot of soup. Just keep serving the soup and it keeps coming. Okay, that's another reality, completely other reality. And the song Imagine, John Lennon describes it. Imagine no possessions. In the native way, you don't own anything. If someone likes my necklace, I know they're coming from knowing it's their turn for my necklace. They don't want it because it has value, that they're going to sell it. They want it because it matches their outfit and they know it's their turn. And I know that they know that. And so I take it off and give it to them. Okay, that's that giveaway. That's that no possessions thing that the native people are carrying for us in their ways, in their traditional ways, and in their knowing. So it's just a very exciting time to see it coming to pass now.
Yeah, that consciousness is so beautiful. And before we end, and I just want to ask you, what is your most important message? And I know the tech has been a little bit sketchy, but there's value in this time that we've all spent together and the energy we've created. What is your most important message? And you can speak for Sande, because you seem to know each other so well.
Speak for Sande?
You can speak for both of you, yes.
Okay. Well, I would say that from both of us, it has to do with trusting the loving universe, because Sande's Odyssey is the actualization of that trust. She's really showing the way, and she's really firmly encouraging people to walk into that space. With the trust frequency, I give a construct on the nature of the universe, and then it takes putting it into action. And it's about aligning our heads with our hearts. And that's what the new science is doing, because our hearts know it is the true nature of the universe. It is our true nature. So we know it's just aligning our heads with our hearts and acting from that place, which the new science is giving us that permission, that foundation, because it's that old scientific paradigm, the materialistic paradigm, reductionist paradigm, that separated us from our hearts and the rest of creation. So that's all that was a construct. So here's a new construct. So, and our hearts are desperate for it. And your beautiful smile is just an example of it. Hasina.
you. Thank you. Well, and David, thank you for posting in the chat my keys to abundance, generosity, and gratitude. And
You
this
got
may
it,
not
David.
this may not have been ideal, but you know what? I'll bet that someone needed this energy space. Someone needed to hear those words. And I just want to thank you and Sande in all her, you know, wanting to make this work. I know technology can be a pain. So just wanted to thank both of you. And we must definitely have another conversation. Thank you.
Well, thank you for stepping in.